to Jonathan Taylor. Huge hole. He's at the 30. He's going to go. 10, 5, touchdown. Jonathan Taylor made a man miss the line of scrimmage and then runs it into pay dirt for a one-handed INT. Are you kidding me? Kenny Moore.
What a play by Nyheim Hines.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. The Indianapolis Colts continue to bring back their own. They re-signed defensive end Al-Quadin Muhammad, 26 years old, signed him to a one-year, $3.4 million deal. Originally, Muhammad was a sixth-round pick of the Saints back in 2017, was claimed off of waivers by the Indianapolis Colts this season after. Muhammad with the Indianapolis Colts has 79 tackles, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery, and then has added 6 tackles and a sack in the postseason as well. So, Derek, the Colts continue to tinker at defensive line. What's your instant reaction to bringing back Al-Quadin Muhammad?
Well, I mean, obviously we need as much depth as we can get right now at that position, so it makes total sense that you would bring back a guy like Al-Quadin Muhammad, who you knew it wasn't going to cost you a whole lot to re-sign. And, you know, you saw the production. There is some production each year that he's been out there and the limited snaps that he gets, you know, so it does make total sense. And I'm glad that we at least brought back somebody else that we are familiar with and know their strengths too. So it's good that we brought him back immediately.
Yeah, he is just a rotational piece. Had 2 sacks a year ago, 6 quarterback hits, so wasn't spectacular. But you said it, he didn't have a ton of snaps. Definitely was taken away by some other players as well. But obviously with losing to Nico Autry, I felt like either you need to re-sign him or Justin Houston. Now, I don't know what this is going to mean if the Colts are going to bring back Houston or not. I think it might mean now that the Colts just look to go elsewhere and try to get a little bit younger because, like I mentioned, Muhammad is still fairly young, 26 years old, just turned that. Is still, still has some potential, to grow and get better as a pass rusher. But Derek, we've said it about all these young pass rushers the Colts have. It's kind of flash in the pan type of guys, right? Where they show you flashes, like Al-Quadin Muhammad has shown you flashes where you look up and you're like, was that 97? Oh, okay, wow. And then he'll go games without really doing anything. That's kind of been one of the biggest downfalls of this defensive line. But yeah, bringing him back on a really cheap deal. I mean, really cheap, honestly, super reasonable. You only lock him in for 1 year, so you're not committed to him long-term. I think that's great, man. And now you have a defensive line that features Isaac Rochelle, who you signed earlier in free agency, Kamoko Toure, Ben Banogu, and now Al-Quadin Muhammad. I mean, that's a solid rotation. But Derek, I think for me, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I don't think this should change in the slightest the Colts' approach to getting another edge guy early in the draft. I think the Colts still need to find that dominant number one guy. And just because you bring back Al-Quadin Muhammad does not mean that your defensive line problems are solved at defensive end. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. The edge problem is still there. And the more and more days that we see Justin Houston not getting re-signed kind of makes me believe that Justin Houston is not returning. So I don't know how that's going to work, but yeah, you're right. The more this is leaning towards the idea of Ballard going for an edge guy early in this draft, whoever that may be, I'm not sure, but it's sounding more and more likely that they're going to end up addressing that in the draft more than anything. I mean, we all kind of assumed that would be a possibility. We all kind of thought it was going to be addressed in free agency, but obviously Ballard did not want to go that route. So, we have a situation now where, you're arguably your 2 biggest concerns right now. You most likely are going to have to address them both in the draft. So how Ballard does that, I don't know. But ultimately, yeah, like you said, the draft seems like the most logical explanation here for going edge.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it, the other one being left tackle. I mean, the Colts have just have signed and re-signed just key depth guys at this point. So I think it kind of clearly points to them wanting to go get a guy there in the first and second round. What that is exactly, I'm not 100% sure how that order will shake out. I think it could go both ways, honestly. But Yeah, I think it definitely, Al-Quadin Muhammad it helps you breathe a little bit. Like, okay, now we have a little bit more experience at defensive end, because for a while there, it was like Ben Banogu might start or Kamoko Toure might start. I mean, none of these guys have proven they can be full 16-game starters or really can stay healthy at this point. More on Kamoko Toure's thing there. But yeah, I like this just from a depth standpoint. It makes a lot of sense to me. So what are your guys' thoughts? What are our listeners' thoughts? Do you like this re-signing, especially at that rate? I think it's a pretty good signing. What are your guys' thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. For Derek and myself, that'll do it on our thoughts on the Colts re-signing Al-Quadin Muhammad, how that maybe impacts, we don't really think it will, the Colts draft strategy. So thanks, guys, for tuning in. And as always, go Colts.